Thank you, Director Women, the Coordinator for Fiji Women's Crisis Center and Country Director for MSP, two of our key stakeholders in relation to the national efforts towards eliminating violence against women and child abuse. Most of us would have known how long these two helplines have been in operation for, from 2016 for the Child Helpline, 2015, and from 2016, September 2016 for the Domestic Violence Helpline. You would know the reason behind that. Government's efforts in addressing what we're still trying to combat on a daily level, on a daily basis, the abuse of children and also violence against women and girls. And these two helplines have been critical in bringing to the fore what has previously been largely private issues in our homes. And I'm very grateful that the leaders of the two critical partners for the Ministry for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation have been able to join me today. We have been making joint statements on these issues in the previous week or so. And I thought it's an opportunity because I've been receiving a lot of questions from the media. I thought this would be an opportunity to answer the questions that you have in relation to the media statements we have released. Mm-hmm. You would know that we have released some data that have come out of the two helplines, the Domestic Violence Helpline and the Child Helpline. The data that we released yesterday in the joint statement speaks to analyzed data for the two helplines as analyzed by the stakeholders and the ministry for calls that have come through the helplines. You would also note that prior to the Domestic Violence Helpline 1560 being implemented, the Fiji Women's Crisis Center has been doing work in that area prior to that. So they also have helplines around the country, which the Fiji Women's Crisis Center coordinator has been speaking to as well. For the purposes of this media conference, we would be focusing on the joint statement that was released yesterday and the data that has been analyzed, also contained in the statement yesterday. It's quite disheartening to have heard about the alleged murder of a lady on Friday last week. Our efforts are ongoing in relation to the elimination of violence against women. You would note that during the COVID period, there was a press conference here where the Prime Minister himself had alluded to the noted increase for domestic violence around the world. And Fiji is no exception. When you hear from the two leaders beside me, you will note the increased numbers that have been received, number of calls that have been received through these two helplines, which speaks to the truth of the trend that has been noticed around the world. What are we doing as a ministry, as stakeholders in the two issues that we're grappling with here? In the statement that was released yesterday, there was mention of a gender-based violence working group established by the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, and jointly headed by the Ministry, Fiji Women's Crisis Center, and UN Women. Apart from that, there's the COVID Gender Response Working Group, which also looks at the gendered impact of COVID on our local population. I will ask the Fiji Women's Crisis Center coordinator as the manager of the Domestic Violence Helpline to speak to the data and the work of the FWCC in relation to the management of the helpline, and also to the Gender-Based Violence Working Group for which they are a co-leader for. And after that, I'll also ask Ashna from the Medical Services Pacific to speak to the Child Helpline, the data that has emanated from that, and the work that they carry out, not only in relation to the Child Helpline, but also ancillary services in relation to addressing violence against women and girls and also child abuse. Thank you.